A very, very long time ago, brown bears and even polar bears roamed free in some parts of Scotland. Sadly, today, bears are extinct in the wild, and only teddy bears and bears who live in zoos are there for you to see in Scotland. The bear in this story may be descended from Scottish bears, but this tale takes place in Canada. Early one morning, Bear woke up from his long winter sleep. Oh, he was so warm under his cozy wool plaid that it was hard to wake up. He yawned and grumbled. His den was too small to have a good stretch, so he moved himself and dug away the snow that had built up at the entrance and crawled outside. Bear stretched his body this way and that way, and he took deep breaths of the fresh, crisp air. It wasn't long until he realized that he was very hungry, so off he went in search of something to eat. He had not gone very far when he heard a sound. Sss. I wonder what that is, said Bear to himself. He took another step. Sss. The sound was louder. Bear was not sure where this was coming from. He looked down on the ground, and what did he see there but a log lying on the ground? And then he heard, "Hey, you, Brown Bear!" Bear was surprised. He thought the log was talking to him. So he leaned down for a closer look. He was wide awake now and wondering what was going on. And then he heard, "I am so cold, cold, cold. You must help me." Bear leaned over and looked even closer, and what did he see but a snake lying there under the log? Oh, thank goodness the log hadn't been talking to him at all. "What is wrong with you?" Bear said to Snake. "Can't you see I am stuck?" said Snake. "I crawled under this log to get warm, and now I cannot get out." "I will help you," said Bear. He moved the log a little. "There you go, Snake. Now you can be on your way." "Sss! You are no help," said Snake, as he slowly crawled out from under the log. "I am still freezing." "I will warm you up then," said Bear. "Wrap yourself around my leg." Snake did, and Bear walked along with Snake wrapped around his leg. After a while, Snake warmed up. And then he unwound himself and slithered up onto Bear's back. "What are you doing?" asked Bear. "I am going to get down, Bear. But first, I want to bite you really hard." "What? You want to bite me?" "I do." But why would you bite me? I helped you." "I know, but I am a snake, and that is what snakes do." "Really?" asked Bear. "Yes, really." "I think we should go and talk to Auntie Rabbit," said Bear. "If she says that I should let you bite me, then I guess I will have to let you do that." Snake agreed. So off went Bear and Snake, and in a little while they found Auntie Rabbit sitting on a tree stump, warming herself with a good cup of tea. "Good day to you, Auntie Rabbit," said Bear. Please listen to what I have to say. I really need your advice." So Bear told Auntie Rabbit the whole story while she listened patiently. This snake right here, this is the snake who wants to bite you really hard?" Bear sighed. "Yes, this is the one." "Show me where you two first met," said Auntie Rabbit. So off went the three animals through the snow, and soon they reached the place where Bear had first found Snake. "This is the log right here," said Bear. "Snake was stuck tight under it." "I see," said Auntie Rabbit. "I think you should show me what happened." So Bear lifted the log a little and Snake crawled under it. Then Bear set the log back on Snake as gently as he could. "It was just like this, Auntie Rabbit," said Bear. "Are you sure?" said Auntie. "Oh, yes, I am sure," said Bear. And then she turned to Snake. "Is this how it was?" "Oh, yes," said Snake. "It was just like this." "Are you stuck good and tight?" asked Auntie Rabbit. "Yes," said Snake. "I am stuck good and tight." "Very well," said Auntie Rabbit. "Bear, you come with me. Let us go and have a hot cup of tea and find some good food for you to eat. You must be very hungry after your long winter's sleep." "Oh, could I have Scottish breakfast tea?" asked Bear. "It's been ever so long since I've had a cup." "Yes, yes, of course you can," said Auntie Rabbit, and off she went with Bear, moving through the snow. Well, Snake, he tried to call out after them, but he was stuck good and tight, and he could hardly speak. So really, he had no choice but to stay just where he was. And that's one cold morning.
Tamlin McGregor, who was usually called Tam for short, had a favourite hat, a Tam O'Shanter hat. And Tam wore his Tam every day, everywhere. First thing in the morning, when Tam got up, he put on his Tam. But one morning, when he looked in the dresser drawer, the Tam was not there. The Tam was not on top of the dresser, and it was not underneath the dresser. It was not in the closet, and it was not beside his pillow. Tam went thundering down the stairs. "Dad, Dad, have you seen my Tam?" Said Tam's father as he put a wedge of bannock on Tam's plate. "Does it look like this?" "No," roared Tam. "My Tam is round and flat." He stomped out of the kitchen into the back porch where the dog was sitting. Tam looked at the dog. "Have you seen my Tam?" The dog put his foot in a silver water dish and pushed it towards the boy. "Does it look like this?" asked the dog. "No," Tam snapped. "My Tam is round and flat and golden brown." Tam left the house, crossed the street, and walked through the park. He came to a fountain where a sparrow was taking a drink. Tam eyed the sparrow, and he said, "Have you seen my Tam?" The sparrow fluttered a bit, flew round the edge of the fountain, and chirped, "Does it look like this?" "No," Tam snapped. "My Tam is round and flat and golden brown, and it's the size of my head." Tam walked through the park. He went past a couple of big girls who were throwing a frisbee. So he said, "Excuse me, have you seen my Tam?" "Does it look like this?" said the biggest girl, and she threw a green plastic frisbee at Tam. "No," he sighed. "My Tam is round and flat and golden brown. It's the size of my head, and it's soft and woolly." Tam kept walking. Down the street, past Mrs. McVitie's tea shop, where a street musician was playing the bagpipes. Tam looked up at the street musician, and he said, "Have you seen my Tam?" Street musician pointed to a red baseball cap that was filling up with coins. "Does it look like that?" Tam shook his head, dragged himself home. When he stepped through the front door, there was his mother reading The Scotsman. "Mom, have you seen my Tam?" She said, turning a page. "Have you looked under your bed?" Tam went upstairs. He looked under his bed, and there he found something that was round and flat and golden brown. Something that was the size of his head, that was soft and woolly, with a pom-pom on top. And right on top of all that was a cat and 3 newborn kittens. Tam had found his Tam.
Once upon a time, there were 3 little pigs who lived in a beautiful valley with their mother and father, who had come from Scotland and were ever so proud of their Scottish heritage. Well, when the 3 pigs grew up, they all wanted to stay in the valley, but each brother wanted a place of his own to live in. The youngest pig loved to have fun, and he was a bit on the lazy side, so he decided to build his house out of straw. It was not very strong, but it was warm and cozy, and the youngest pig loved it. The second pig was willing to work a little harder, so he spent some time gathering lots of sticks to build his house. He was very good at doing puzzles, so it was easy for him to fit the sticks together. He soon moved into his new house and hung a welcome sign on the front door. The oldest pig wanted his house to be both strong and comfortable, so he built it out of bricks. It took much longer to finish, but oh, he was so pleased with it. And his new kitchen had a lovely big stove in it, so the oldest brother was soon busy making delicious soups, applesauce with cinnamon, and puffy loaves of bread. The brothers saw each other every day. Life was good, well, except for one thing. A large wolf had moved into the beautiful valley. He kept to himself at first, but one day he went for a long ramble, and what should he find but 3 plump pig brothers? "Oh, I do love pork chops for my supper," he said to himself, "and now I know where to get some." So the wolf went right up to the straw house, and he banged on the door and called out, little pig, let me come in." "Not by the hair on my chinny chin chin," the little pig managed to say, but as you can imagine, he was terribly frightened. "Well then," said the wolf, "I will huff, and I will puff, and I will surely blow your house in." And that's just what the wolf did. He huffed and he puffed and he blew in that house of straw. The youngest pig managed to run out the back door, and he did not stop running until he reached his brother's house of sticks. But the wolf followed, and he banged on the door and yelled, little pigs, let me come in." Not by the hair on our chins. Then I'm afraid I will huff, and I will puff, and I will certainly blow your house in. And that's just what the wolf did. He huffed, and he puffed, and he blew the house in. The two brothers climbed out the window, and they ran as fast as they could to the house of bricks. But the wolf was not far behind. He banged on the door and yelled, little pigs, I am very hungry. Let me come in. Not by the hair on our chins. Then I'm afraid I will have to huff and puff, and I will blow this house in, I promise you. So the wolf huffed, and he puffed, and he puffed, and he huffed, and absolutely nothing happened. He ran around to the back of the house to see if a window was open so he could climb in. The kitchen window was open a wee bit, but before the wolf could do anything, the three pigs rushed in and slammed the window shut. But not before the wolf smelled something wonderful cooking on the stove. What smells so good? He asked. The oldest pig said, Oh, I am making some cockaleekie soup and oatmeal bread for lunch. May I have some? Asked the wolf. Don't be ridiculous, said the two younger pigs. But the oldest brother thought about it for a minute, and he said, Maybe if we give the wolf something good to eat, he won't be so interested in eating us. So the oldest pig dished out a bowl of soup and cut a big, thick slice of bread and buttered it. And they put everything onto a plate, and then the pigs opened the window just far enough that they could hand the plate to the wolf. The middle brother was standing by with the iron frying pan in case the wolf tried to come in. But the soup and the bread were so good that the wolf soon forgot about pork chops. Is there any more? He asked. The oldest pig filled the bowl with soup again and cut another slice of bread. There was also a clootie dumpling in the oven, so the pigs cut a big chunk of that and gave it to the wolf too. When he finished eating, the wolf did a strange thing. He said, Thank you very much. Here's my plate. I really enjoyed that food. It was delicious, and I'm going to go home now. And off he went. Well, the next day, the oldest pig made more food than usual for lunch because he had a feeling the wolf might come back again. He did, and he enjoyed a plate of corn and black bean tacos and 2 big slices of chocolate cake. Well, after that, the wolf came every day, and he loved everything the pigs gave him to eat. One morning, as he was nibbling on a large cinnamon bun after finishing his porridge, he said to the pigs, Why don't you open a bakery? Everything you make is so delicious, and I would love to help you with that if you would let me. Well, the funny thing was that very morning, the 3 brothers had been talking about the idea of opening a bakery. They could build a shop and another kitchen onto the side of the brick house. But we cannot let the wolf come in and help us, said the 2 younger brothers. He's bound to eat us up once he comes inside. I am not so sure about that, said the oldest brother. I think we should give him a chance. Why don't we all think about it while we build the bakery? The pigs worked very hard and got all the walls up in a week, but then they were rushing to put on the roof because it looked like it was going to snow soon. the wolf came along and said, "Can I help you? If we all work together, we can put the roof on that much more quickly." And that's just what they did. And when they were finished, they all went inside and shared a plate of scones and jam and had a nice hot cup of tea. It was snowing outside now, but they were warm and snug inside the pig's house. The wolf said, "Now don't laugh, but I would really love to learn how to bake. And I would love to work in your bakery if you would let me." Well, the pigs were still a little bit anxious about letting the wolf come in, but they decided that after all he had done, they should give him a chance. And he was so busy as he learned to bake, making shortbreads, morning rolls, and Dundee cakes, that he never had a moment to think about pork chops. The wolf became a wonderful baker. Oh, all the animals loved everything he made. The birds gobbled up his seed cake. The chipmunks and the squirrels had never tasted nut bread so good. And Grandfather Bear declared the wolf's crannikin simply scrumptious. Well, in time, the pigs decided it was silly for the wolf to have to walk so far to the bakery every morning, so they built another room onto the brick house and invited him to move in. And I'm delighted to tell you that they lived and baked together very happily for many, many years.
Once, in a wee small red box, under the floor of a wee shed, behind a wee barn, next to a wee house, on a wee small farm, just above the loch in Sutherland, there lived a wee family of little mice. First, there was the mother mouse, and then there were her 3 babies, Onesie, the oldest, Twosie, the middle one, and Twasimodo, the littlest baby mouse. Alas, there was no Papa Mouse. There had been, but he lost his life in a fierce battle with the farmer's Mogi, a bad-tempered black cat. But the mother mouse, she did a very fine job of looking after her 3 little mice. Every day she sent them to school with clean whiskers and oat cake crumbs for their lunch. And when they came home, she had them wash their hands for 20 seconds with warm water and lots of soap. And then they had acorn cups of tea. And then, before those 3 little mice went out to play, her mother reminded them, "You watch out for the Mogi, that farmer's black cat. You know what he did to your papa." And the 3 little mice, they all said, "Oh yes, we'll remember, we'll remember." And off they went. Do you think they remembered? Of course not. They were much too busy playing run on the rafter, hide in the hay, or steal the farmer's corn. And that's exactly what they were doing when that Mogi walked into the barn. That big black cat looked at the 3 little mice and mewed, "Ah, mice meat haggis, my favorite. Now, should I eat that with oat cakes or with bannocks?" And before that Mogi could make up its mind, the mother mouse poked her head around the corner of the barn. She stood up very straight, opened her mouth very wide, and cried, "Bow wow! Bow wow! Bow wow wow wow!" And that black cat, that Mogi, jumped up, climbed the ladder to the hayloft, and disappeared under a bale of hay. And that mother mouse? Well, she collected her 3 little ones, onesie, twosie, twasimodo. She led them back to the box, and she said, you know, it never hurts to learn a second language.